The rules of self-improvement are rewritten as we speak, and a lot is about to change. I say this because I got into self-improvement at quite a young age, and a lot was different at that time. Different advice, different values, different methods, and different gurus too. It was a time when Alpha M, Teaching Man Fashion and a few others were still relevant. And then it kinda shifted towards people like Hamza, Tate and even First Man. But I don't know if you noticed, but there is a huge vibe shift happening in the self-improvement and masculinity space right now. Hamza and First Man are losing their communities. Tate is irrelevant. And more people are turning away from the money, girls and power escapism. When you look closer and analyze the sentiment, you can already feel this new era starting. Something that will replace the common advice, focus points and methods, as well as the creators and values of this current era. Now, what I really mean by that? What's different about this new era? Why self-improvement would have eras in the first place? And whether this can actually benefit you and what you need to know to make that happen, as well as a little bit of advice for this new meta, is going to be a topic of this video. So are you ready to learn about this new era and to finally improve your life the way you always dreamed you would? Then let's get into this. Now, you're probably asking, why would self-improvement have eras anyway? Shouldn't the advice be pretty much timeless? And also, why should I even listen to you? Are you sure you're not just making random stuff up? And yes, those are fair questions, and I will answer them before I tell you all you need to know about this new era that's starting literally right now. And to do this, I want to give you some context about me and self-improvement over the last 5 to 7 years, because this is the foundation for the current meta shift. And I got into self-improvement at a pretty young age. Back then I just wanted to be better, be cooler, have more girls fall in love with me, those kind of things. And actually it all probably started when I got my first supplement, which was vitamin D, probably somewhere around 2015. Then around the same time in 8th grade, when we went on a class trip, I read my first self-improvement book. At least if you can even call it that. The book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is more about finance, but I mean, that is part of self-improvement, right? And over time, things developed. Slowly but surely. I read books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, What Everybody is Saying, and since then, many more. And I also started to watch more and more self-improvement content on YouTube, not much later. And I don't remember the exact years, but it definitely was a different era. People like Alpha M, Teaching Man Fashion, and maybe also Alex Becker were still highly relevant. Although unfortunately I only discovered Alex Becker a bit later. And the videos and advice were pretty interesting, probably helpful too, sure. But it never really felt super relatable. I never felt fully understood, and it also never felt truly authentic. And then came Hamza. And this is when a lot changed. Not only for me, but also for the self-improvement scene, especially on YouTube. He didn't go viral straight away, but once he did, around 2020, maybe 21, this guy took off like a rocket ship. And the thing is, it was real. It was authentic, it was relatable, it was unique and fresh. So in my opinion, it definitely was deserved, and it brought some good change to the self-improvement niche. And it didn't take long until other, former big channels suddenly became irrelevant.
Reduced to atoms.
And yet, because Hamza was so captivating and so relatable for so many people, I think he somewhat slowly made self-improvement a bit more mainstream. Maybe that's just my feeling, because I got more into this bubble, I grew older, and some friends jumped onto a little bit of self-improvement too. But either way, it definitely went more mainstream just 1 or 2 years later. The rise of Andrew Tate.
You're broke!
Andrew Tate was 10x of that. In terms of views sometimes, like his personal views, but mainly just in terms of the attention that he brought to the self-improvement and masculinity scene. And I mean, like him or not, that is kind of his niche. And that's then also what got pretty popular and pretty mainstream in a short time. He definitely had some interesting opinions and statements that he made online, but in its core, he did also focus a lot on getting guys to improve their fucking lives, to work hard, to develop discipline, to develop mental strength, and yeah, to make money too. And this also brought the whole masculinity, self-improvement niche, and especially also the red pill niche, to a big rise as well. Fresh and Fit became pretty big, Sneeko changed his whole identity to profit off this hype, and even guys like First Man, who I just made a video about, got more attention and even started to claim that they are the original Andrew Tate.
But when I see like Andrew and Tristan Tate literally copying word for word at least 50 videos of mine, and Andrew Tate pretty much copying my entire look.
Yeah, that was funny. First Man is another YouTuber I really like to watch for the last couple of years. I thought he was more rational, more balanced, and a bit more down to earth too. And I liked that. Although by now I'm unsure if he actually is that way, but I did enjoy watching him for those reasons. He really had some good content, some really solid advice, and quite importantly, he seemed to live what he was preaching. Although, again, when his company is in debt at the end of 2022, but he claimed to make so much money for quite some time now, many just don't really know what to believe, including real people and including me too. But this kinda reflects the current sentiment in the self-improvement niche and why I'm quite certain the vibe and the meta is shifting right now. For the last few years, these people were quite relevant. Maybe not so much First Man, but still. Many have heard of him at least. And they kinda dictated the meta. Of course, self-improvement shouldn't have something like a meta, but realistically, when Tate said this or that is bad, or this or that is good, others followed. When he said he only eats meat, quite a few followed. Not to say this is good or bad, but I think that's just the nature of self-improvement, especially watching people for self-improvement. Like, they should show you how to improve, so of course you do the things they advise you to do. So of course, when that advice is shifting and the self-improvement gurus recommend other tactics and methods, and then the followers also do other tactics and methods, of course, self-improvement as a whole is kinda shifting. It's still self-improvement, but still different. So as I just explained, self-improvement is of course a lot about giving directions, giving advice, showing a way. But this becomes problematic when the main drivers or the gurus, fucking hate this word, but whatever, are losing their credibility or they can't talk about it at all. So Tate gets cancelled. He somewhat loses relevancy. Then he gets arrested. Boom, silence for months. Sure, everyone still saw clips of him, but of course he wasn't as relevant as before. Then Hamza, changing up his advice every 3 weeks, contradicting himself over and over, and then also giving advice about topics he doesn't really know anything about. Or First Man, building a streaming platform, asking for £100 of his subscribers, but completely fails to deliver. Maybe he will deliver in the future, but he's been working on it for some time now. And to be fair, the streaming platform is still pretty undeveloped, let's say. Then he starts 1M House, asking for £3,000 per year, but yet he doesn't have any proof he can actually deliver on what he promises. And this all sounds like hate, but I want you to remember that I just talked about how I liked to watch them for quite some time. Because it felt relatable, because the advice was good, because it also improved my life. So this is definitely not a hate video, I want to make this very clear. But right now, these guys are somewhat losing their support, their momentum, maybe also their relevancy and their community. You can see it in the comments. You can see it by the view counts. The vibe is shifting right now. But yet, the need for a better life is only growing and becoming more relevant. So the community, the people, have to go somewhere else for direction. They need to find better advice, find someone they can trust, find something that really improves their lives. And this is where I think a huge shift is happening right now. A general tendency I felt recently is more focus on what some people call health maxing. So this includes healthy habits, biohacking, diet, testosterone, and a few other things too. And I'll elaborate on this in the next couple minutes. Andrew Huberman is a good example for that. He's been on the rise lately and people trust and appreciate him. He's not sketchy either. He's using real science too, he's not cashing out, etc, etc. And of course, he's someone I also look up to. His advice works, and it doesn't only sound cool because he's an extremely good storyteller and he knows how to polarize.
Fine.
Another shift I noticed was towards testosterone, for example. Of course, this has been a topic for a long time by now, and Hamza, Tate, First Man, etc. talked about this too. But some people right now bring it to the next level, and they also focus more on that. I've seen testosterone videos on my channel, for example, get a lot more attention, although I didn't really go super in depth yet. But another great example is Karl Ram. Not sure if you heard of him before, but he was Hamza's former thinker or his strategist. And nowadays he makes his own content, which really feels authentic, extremely helpful and legit too. I feel like he has his own little sub-niche, but that sub-niche is getting more attention. Or maybe you also noticed a common shift in dietary advice. For example, more and more people nowadays are eating a carnivore diet in this scene, which would be a separate video whether that's actually good or not. But just look at the Google Trends and you see it's more searched than a keto diet nowadays. Also, I feel like in general, the advice and the values are becoming more deep than just money, power and women. Either way, that health maxing is real self-improvement. And I'll quickly tell you why and then what to do with that knowledge. As well as 7 things to do some real health maxing for your own. You probably heard this before. A healthy person has 1,000 wishes, a sick person only 1. And guys, this alone should show you the true importance of your health. Additionally, when you're healthy, everything gets better. You feel better, you're happier, you make wiser decisions, life becomes easier, self-improvement becomes easier. You have more motivation and you have more energy. When you have health and energy, you kind of start a spiral. It's something I talked about recently. You start compounding so many good things if you focus on the right ones. More energy makes it easier to go to the gym, to work on your business and make money, or to get a promotion in your job, to eat in a healthy way, to be present and creative, and yes, also to have better game, sex and relationships. I went through this journey before, going from pretty tired, low on motivation and purpose, to being pretty energetic again, as I should be at my age. So sure, I can help you through this health maxing journey too. I noticed this is probably the most important part of life and also of self-improvement. Being healthy and feeling good. I mean, that's what we all want, don't we? But if you now just want a starting point, something to focus on, I quickly want to provide some value here. So because I focus so much on having more energy, because that's something I struggled with in the past, but improved a lot since then, over time I came up with the 7 pillars of high energy people. So just focus on these and I could guarantee you, your energy could potentially 10x. So the 7 pillars are sleep, diet, exercise, mental health, a social life, nature and sunlight, and goals and purpose. And potentially pillar 8 is about stress management. If you realistically score an 8 out of 10 in all these categories, your energy will go through the roof. You will almost feel unstoppable, and trust me, you will reach so many of your goals. I won't guarantee anything because then you could sue me if somehow it doesn't work out, but in a parallel universe, I might guarantee it. Honestly, I've been there, I've done it, and other experts agree on these pillars. I've read almost 100 studies on vitality and energy management, and I read a few books too. I could still improve, but guys, having energy, actually doing the things you need to do and feeling good while doing it is such a big game changer. But if you want a more in-depth explanation, especially about the 7 pillars of high energy people, just check out this video, or for a quick list of things not to do, watch this one. But of course, that's totally up to you. And now, as always, I hope this was valuable. I hope you learned something, and then have a great day, stay excellent, and bye.